I recently heard an interesting statement about a new digital art app. HiPaint was apparently a free version of Procreate. It was indeed free and a quite fascinating app, although it felt more like Clip Studio Paint by the way of its settings and usual layout, but it was a little bit simpler and had a bunch of the same editing tools as Procreate. As with anything new, I like to play around and touch all the big red buttons. You first start with the gallery page. There is no tutorial, but it is not hard to just explore and use your brain. There was a setting page to the left, which was fairly simple. Here in the recycle bin, there's a way to save artworks that you accidentally deleted, unlike Procreate. As for brushes, it was a little lacking, but further updates may release more, and the fact that they already have an import option for custom brushes is a good sign. While I do keep using language that makes it seem like this is a recently released app, it has been around for 2 years. Other than that, it is still a fairly young art app. If you're easily overwhelmed by choices regarding brushes, it does have pretty much all the basic types you would look for without overcrowding. There's a handy-dandy lasso tool and reshaper. There is also a smearing tool, but I did not test it out much. Line and circle tools that make for smoother lines. I love how you can edit the shapes more strongly. Now the 3D looking tool really impressed me, and I had lots of fun with it. HiPaint is also Sonar Pin, which I have no clue what that is, and Apple Pen adaptable. Maybe other pins would work, I'm not quite sure. When I pulled out the 3D models, it was incredible. There's only a couple models, but they are adjustable and you can also change the light direction. It seems that you could also import your own models. However, I have no clue how to do that, so I'm not sure how well it would work. There's so much to play with here. I think some of these tools are a little bit unnecessary though. You have a reference button off to the side, which you can use for having reference off canvas. Once I found myself a reference, I got to work. I chose something that was angular, lots of straight and sharp lines. By choosing something simpler, I can just focus on textures and colors. I can easily reshape the head with the lasso button and reshaper tool, just as I could on Procreate. I turned down the opacity and began the final line art. I really liked the scratchy, pixely texture of this ink brush. Something I noticed that HiPaint and Procreate have in common is that they both alter the parts that you reshape. The sharpness dulls and it gets a sort of dusty look to it. This only happens with reshaping and sizing up or down. I noticed it doesn't change the clarity if my selection is just moved across the canvas and not changed in any form. I sort of regret downsizing the nose, but it didn't ruin it entirely. The step of color filling is still my least favorite step, but I guess it could be worse. I could have to color the whole thing in by hand. The paint bucket also has color fill options, so you can adjust how well it meets the line that you first started when filling it in. You can go beyond it, or you can stay just within it. I think the yellows really add to it. Unfortunately, my screen recordings will occasionally malfunction and not save, so I do not have much to share regarding the rendering process other than the time lapse that I have showing later. I adore it when art apps automatically capture video of your own canvas. Really saved me there. Overall, I have to say that as a free art app, this is a pretty great choice for those interested in many of the things that Procreate has to offer. Since it's free, there are a couple of negatives, like ads that play before and after returning to the app, and banner ads along the bottom. Despite that, if you have the time, I say it's a worthy checkout. With all that said, I'll stick to Procreate. I hope that you've learned much, as I have, about this app, and that you have a marvelous day. See you next video!